Hi, I'm Maya. I'm a college counselor, a graduate of Stanford University, and a former UC admissions reader. And today, I'm going to be sharing with you the top 8 mistakes to avoid when writing the UC Personal Insight questions. Number 1, not thinking strategically. Basically, this means not planning ahead on your topics and just kind of answering the questions at random depending on what you think of. You want to use your essays to highlight your accomplishments, different aspects of yourself, and what you've achieved while you're in high school. You don't want to leave out the fact that you were captain of the swim team, but you also don't want to write 3 essays about it. You need to plan ahead and think, what is the purpose of each essay? And then consider what kind of student they were presenting you as overall. Number 2, writing about grades. By that, I mainly mean writing an essay about how you worked really hard in a certain class to get a certain grade. Writing an essay about how you worked really hard for your grades doesn't really distinguish you because pretty much everyone applying to the UCs has also done that. I most often see this come up when someone is trying to explain a bad grade, and more often than not, what that really does is have the function of drawing extra attention to that bad grade, which is the last thing that you want to do. It's actually going to make the admissions readers more worried if you spend a lot of time explaining that you worked really hard to get a grade. So if you talk about how you worked really hard to get, say, a C or even a B in AP Calculus, they're going to wonder, is this student ready to take math at a college level where the classes are going to be equally difficult but also faster paced? Number 3, bragging too much. Is the essay about how you just work harder or are better than others in some way? Comparison is generally not a good idea. You want to focus on you. Having a tone that's kind of braggy can often happen without you meaning it. I often have students who aren't braggy at all in person, and it's just when they sit down to write the essay, and I think they're trying to really show off the best of themselves to the colleges, and it just doesn't quite work out as they mean it to. So you just have to be mindful of the tone, of the language that you're using, and make sure that it's accurately depicting your accomplishments. It's not diminishing them, but it's not overstating them. Number 4, not bragging enough. Not highlighting your leadership positions or accomplishments, showing low self-esteem or negativity, focusing on how you could have done better. This can be easy to fall into, especially if you're someone who's self-critical or a perfectionist, but luckily it's easy to edit out. If you see yourself saying something negative, just stop and ask whether it helps you communicate what you're trying to say in this essay or not. Number 5, lack of organization. This is when the student has written about a bunch of things, but in no particular order. So let's say they're writing about how they're interested in STEM, and they talk about a club that they just started, but then they talk about how they got interested in STEM as a kid, and then they talk about a summer program, and it's just not really in a particular order that you can follow if you don't already know about their life. You want an organizational plan going into each essay, or once you've drafted, you need to go back and revise to make sure that it has a clear structure so that the reader can understand what happened in your life in the order that it happened. Number 6, writing a creative essay. The UCs actually say that they do not want you to use lots of dialogue or fancy metaphors. They want you to just answer the question. Give them what they want. This is not advice for your personal statement or for other colleges. This is just for the UC Personal Insight questions. So save your creativity for where it can boost you up instead of being a distraction. Number 7, focusing on problems instead of overcoming those problems. Number 5 especially specifically asks you to talk not just about a challenge you faced, but steps you have taken to overcome that challenge. This is very important to answer. The UCs definitely want to know if you've been struggling with personal circumstances, whether that might be health problems, family circumstances, a disability, etc. If you don't take the time to answer that second part of the question about steps you took to overcome the challenge, you run the risk of sounding like you're complaining, like you're coming up with excuses, or like you're just not ready to handle the challenges of college, whether those might be personal or academic. Number 8. Answering number 8 wrong. I would actually just say answering number 8 at all, but the UCs say that you can answer any question. I don't want to argue with them. Number 8, if you've forgotten, is beyond what has already been shared in your application, what do you believe makes you stand out as a strong candidate for admissions to the University of California? The reason I say not to answer this is that pretty much any good answer will fit under one of the other questions. The way people respond to number 8 is often a mistake because they respond too literally to the question. They don't have a substantive activity or achievement to present, so they end up saying something like this. I am a strong candidate because I have an extremely good work ethic and I'm very smart and I will work harder than anyone else. Your work ethic should already be shared shared in the app through your courses and your grades and your activities. So if you respond to number 8 in this way, it's gonna sound kind of braggy. So I advise avoiding number 8 unless you have a very specific reason that you want to use it. So those are my top 8 mistakes to avoid when writing the UC Personal Insight questions. To learn more about why those might be mistakes, check out my other videos and make sure to subscribe for future videos about applying to college and the college experience.